Next match, I kind of came in after the grade one rides. Rin went first and rode Precious Stone, which, well, I can just say right now, this kind of says what the battles are going to be. Tsukuyomi Oracles versus Shadow Paladin Witches. Rin drops 2 heal triggers to guard a critical. She took 1 damage, but was better than taking 3 or 4. And Rin rides the most awkward card in Vanguard right now. Why did they print it upside down on purpose? That is so awkward to me. Oh, and another heal gone. But Rin is using a Legion deck, so they'll come back later. And TSS is actually doing pretty well on getting those Tsukuyomi skills to go off. Half Moon gave her a Soul Charge too, which was a heal trigger in Ohirume? That's what it's called? Ohirume? I thought it was Orihime. Whatever. Tagetsuhime is on the field. That's a no pass. So Rin is deciding to guard early and not take much damage. Now she's at 2, and oh, those 2 units. I know she doesn't want to keep them in damage long. And she rides the Legion for this unit, actually. Cultic Witch Rias. Yes, Witch Rias. On the turn that she Legions, Rin would have the ability to retire a Shadow Paladin that has Witch in its name. Actually, not just a Shadow Paladin, any unit with Witch in its name on her field. And she could decrease the power of TSS's Vanguard by 5,000 times the number of grade zeros on her field. She already put 1 on the field herself, and that's all 4 heroes gone, by the way. But yeah, she already put 1 grade 0 on the field herself, but the Witch's main mechanic is to put as many grade 0s on the opponent's field as possible. Of course, considering Oracle Think Tank and considering what her grade 0 lineup is, if they're units like Lozenge Maggot, well, Sphere Magus because it's TSS, but if it's units like Sphere Magus or Psychic Bird, she can gain advantage and benefits from, them being in the soul like that. TSS automatically uses the ability of Amaterasu, sends a unit to the top of his deck. TSS is a boy, and then uses Psychic Bird to draw it. And Circle Magus will reconfirm his top deck again, but he can't put it on bottom even if he doesn't like it. So there's no way to know what that is. Rin has a good hand lead. I mean a good damage lead, but she has a major hand and field disadvantage. And I actually don't think I've ever seen this matchup happen before. So we really got to see what happens here. Oh no, I was about to say when did TSS get a trigger, but it gained 3k because she as an Amaterasu has more than 6 in her soul. Actually, Amaterasu has 7 in soul. 1 away from doing the Mega Blast. So Arena skill is about to activate. which means that unit is going to become a grade 0. And out of the 5, the only grade 0 is a critical trigger. There were no other options. Usually it would be Rin's choice, but there were no other possibilities. So one thing I think Asuka told me about the witches is that their ability to make units into grade 0 actually helps Legion a lot. I like how the 4 units sent back were all the heals. Like nothing but the heals. Rin activated Legion, but now you lose power. Rin kind of used the Legion skill too early, in my opinion. She could have played the units and then gotten that to a lot lower power if she had done things differently. That's 15. And there you go. Unfortunately, that wasn't a good demonstration of how powerful that unit could be. If TSS had had some grade 0s in the drop zone, then Ren could have actually gotten its power to 0. And now TSS is using Tsukuyomi. It seems like TSS is actually actively trying to use Tsukuyomi over Amaterasu. But then again, as I look at this deck, it looks like a spin on the classic Tsukuyomi deck that had Amaterasu as the backup. It's just that now it has um, Orihime as well. And I'm going to keep calling it Orihime because that's all I know. Rin decides to take 2 damage, probably so that she can use the Legion skill again. Well, not the Legion skill, the other skill. I just realized that when Rin used Witch of Pursuit Sekuana, she actually shouldn't have been able to activate it because at the time TSS only had 1 grade 0 on the field and you need 2 or more to activate that unit. But no one caught it, and it's way too late into the game. I didn't even catch it, so. And a critical appears. Not much choice. At this point, what Rin is trying to do is just mess up TSS's columns as best as she can. Get rid of her offense and defense and all that stuff as quickly as possible. Also, by the way, this is something I didn't mention before, but if TSS was trying to do anything with the Tsukuyomi line, it got destroyed last turn by Rias. That is the most frustrating thing. for a Witch deck to deal with, for a Legion deck in general to deal with, is when that keeps happening. So at this point, Rin is one thing I say that's kind of a negative about witches in general is that they don't have a lot of hand gain capabilities. Rin is using the next few turns right now to try to build back her hand by decreasing how much she needs to guard against TSS's attacks. It's really the best thing you can do in this situation. So let's see what got put into Amaterasu and Miracle Kid got put into the soul by Tsukuyomi's abilities. And I think TSS is contemplating. Oh, he was contemplating what to put in the soul. Okay, Amaterasu is in the soul for a different reason. I had forgotten. Rin decides not to take a chance on a critical and is correct in doing so. So now that has 2 critical and is gonna. If I was Rin, I would have intercepted with the other one for that, unless she has a plan. Rin 10k guards, and TSS gets a free heal return to the deck. So that's one less grade 3 on the field. I mean grade 0 on the field than there was before. And there's really not a whole lot Rin can do about that. That card is so awkward. 24 out of Vanguard. I guess she ran out of Mist. So now if she wants the perfect guard, she has to actually discard something. Here's the problem, is that she's kind of making bad columns. Like, Rin is making some bad columns, and it's not her fault. She's working with what the deck is giving her. It's just that it's not giving her the ability to do good columns. She kind of misplayed last turn when she put Daedra in front of Sekuana, when she could have put Fam in front of her instead and gotten an 18k attack. TSS decides to keep that 8k booster. Oh, and we're going to see a Legion here. The first 21k Legion. 25 because Amaterasu's skill. It's kind of weird they use Psychic Bird to draw. Okay, here it is. So heal trigger, critical trigger, mist, and uh, Amaterasu to Legion with Amaterasu. Don't know how many she had left in deck. How many TSS had in deck. But this is 28 to Vanguard. It'll go up to 32 with the first drive check. And there's a heal trigger. And another heal trigger, but that one doesn't heal. And speaking of heal triggers, so now Rin can afford the other attack. She has to guard this one though. That was that was something else. 3 heal triggers in a row. And now we have Dazzling Witch Fianna on the field. Able to do the Legion as long as she returns one of those FAMs. And she did. And now with her Legion skill, she can Counterblast 2 and make TSS look at the top 10 instead of the top 5. And then change 2 units into grade 0s. And there's that same critical that keeps appearing. A draw as well. Psychic Bird. Sphere Magus. Honestly, if it was me, I'd make it the two Nikes. Yep, and that's exactly what Rin is gonna do, double Nike. Because Psychic Bird could just go into the soul and get a draw. Sphere Magus could be returned to the deck. So both of those being on the field are disadvantageous. Double Nike is better. And yes, I know it's supposed to be called Nikkei, but calling it Nike is just more funny. So Rin flashed it way too soon to tell what units are going to be changed from this. Okay. That was an interesting choice because Rin could have gotten rid of that intercept. Oh, it's gone anyway. Never mind, it's gone anyway. This is probably the optimal field for a witch deck. All grade 0s on the field for the opponent's side as much as possible. Missed makes it a no-hit, but doesn't change the situation that none of TSS's rear columns can hit at all. Unless TSS decides to replace those grade 0s with units in his hand. Guards with Sphere Magus, which is actually smart because it blocks more of the witches Dear Day and Durna from Soul Blasting 1 and grabbing a grade 0 out. Because now if Rin does that, it'll be Sphere Magus. At this point, it feels like TSS is doing all he can to kind of get his bearings back. And he's deciding if he wants to keep that Nikkei column the way it is. I don't think he has a choice. And apparently he doesn't. Decides to go 10k to the rear, and intercept stops that. Which is the best thing because that column wasn't doing any good anyway. It's gonna take a perfect guard to be sure that this doesn't hit. Rin knows as well as anyone, and that's gonna be 32 from one drive check. The fact that Rin is thinking this hard means that there are no perfect guards in her hand. This is gonna need at least a 10k shield if no triggers appear. Let's see, 21, 31, 36. That's technically a one pass. And that's it. Rin needs a heal to live. And it didn't come. Unfortunate. TSS takes the second game. It was a really good match, though. Very close to decking out from TSS, and the next one was a heal. Oh well. Time for the next game.